That works.
I wish the clock was like perfect, right?
I know, right in the center.
Hanging from my
Flavor Flav.
What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Ray.
And I'm Amanda.
And this is 5R Recovery. Amanda, did you know where I wear black?
Why do you wear black?
Because I'm fat.
It's
not because I'm
depressed.
depressed. I have people ask me, they're like, Johnny, you're always in black. Are you depressed? Actually, life is really, really good.
Yeah.
But I'm gaining weight in my recovery.
And it's very slow.
People are like, how often do you go to the gym? I go, what's a gym?
Right.
And
You know how busy you are? I mean, like, when you're going to go run on a treadmill?
I guess it's time to start, though. Like, I think our recovery should be about, like, eating healthier, working out, working on our mental state.
Caring what you're putting in your body.
And I do almost all of that, except for the working out part.
Yeah, I don't really like any. Yoga. I love yoga. Yoga's awesome.
Really?
Yeah, I do love yoga. I started that in treatment and I loved it and I want to get back into it.
What's up with this sweat yoga stuff that they do? It's called hot yoga, where they lock you in a room.
Yeah.
And then they sauna. In like a sauna. And then they have you do yoga.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's already hard to bend this way, but now I'm dying of heat exhaustion.
Right, exactly. And if you don't pass out, you get a gold star.
You know the person who created that's a millionaire, right? Where they were just like, okay, I'm going to take yoga and a sauna.
Yeah.
Combine them.
Right. And it came with some torturous thing. It was an evil mind that came up with that. Now they're billionaires.
Has to be. Exactly. Because that's not a class like I would sign up for.
Absolutely.
Right. So welcome everyone. That had nothing to really do with recovery. We're just random. We are live as always. We talk about real raw recovery. How's your week, Amanda?
Good. The weekend was good. It was my birthday weekend.
I saw where you were staying.
Yes. It was like schwanky for a night, you know?
Schwanky
for a night.
It was schwanky.
I know, and I did. I got that bougie attitude. I was like sitting in the robe just because I could.
Yeah.
Just sitting because I could.
Right. Yeah. Call room service being like, why aren't you up here yet?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't that rude. But I did. I felt nice because I slipped the bell guy like $20. I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Make sure that pie has extra whipped cream.
Right, exactly. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
It was fun, though. It was awesome. And I thank my sister so much for doing that. That was a really cool. I needed it.
Very cool. So what else happened this week?
Not much. It's actually been a pretty quiet week. And I like that for the simple fact that I don't get those very often. So,
Truth.
Yeah.
I'm good. How's your mom?
She's good. She's healing up pretty good. She's actually getting better. So, hi, Bradley.
Hi, Brad. I always give plugs to the people that chime in. If you haven't seen Brad's testimony, you really should look at it. It was really, really heartfelt. I cried twice. A couple of things I took from Brad's testimony was, one, I'm like a tortoise. I like to hide in my shell. Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm going to use that. If that's cool, Bradley, I'm stealing it, bro. You know, because I just picture you being like, I don't want anybody to see me.
Yeah.
And then going in this. Dustin's brother here. Love what you do. Okay, awesome. Dustin's brother. How are you? Welcome. We're going to talk about what was our even topic supposed to be today?
Well, our topic, I think, was going to be bridging the gaps. Like
bridging the gap. And that's not in the teeth.
Although that probably needs to happen too.
Yeah, I used to have a bridge that was right there and it brought my teeth in. I was born with this big gap between my teeth, you know? Oh, Cheryl D. Kyle's mom. How are you? Love you. Dustin Hillman. I'm Daniel's son. Oh, what's up, Dustin? Or Dustin Hillman, I'm Daniel's son, Dustin's brother here, which I don't understand what that means. Dustin's brother here, love. Is it Dustin?
Or is it his brother?
Right. Are you Dustin's brother? Do you have a name? See, Dustin, if it's you,
Nick,
you're confusing.
Nick. It's Nick.
Okay, Nick. What's up, Nick?
Yeah,
How are you? Awesome. So we're talking about bridging the gap. What does that mean, Amanda?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, it can mean a bunch of different things, but as far as like in this community, like for me, it's where are we as a community failing in a sense, or where is it not connecting or working? So we have all these amazing programs, all these different places that are, give funding for treatment and detox and things like that. But still we have a really, really, really large amount of people that go back out, and we need to figure out why, what's happening, 100%.
Right. And it's definitely in deeper than what people think.
Yes.
The system is flawed because the system is overran and the system is controlled by people who, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, don't actually want to see the problem fixed. No. So what do you do about it? What does bridging the gap look like? Well, let's see. If we're going to take people from homeless to happy, healthy, productive members of society. So at 5R, that's where we start, right? Wherever you are in your journey is where we will meet you. It's our mission, right? Okay. So if you're homeless, what do we need to do from homeless?
Right. Yeah.
What do we need to do from treatment? What do we need to do from clean and sober living? What do we need to do afterwards to be healthy, productive members of society? So take those 4 tiers. Yeah. Let's start. Amanda, what do you do with people who are homeless that need help?
So people that are homeless and need help, first of all, I feel like, a lot of them don't know where to start. So it's an uphill battle. They don't know how to climb. So people are like, well, if they don't ask ask for it, don't offer it. No, you need to offer it to them because they don't know what's available. You got to remember these people haven't had phones, TVs, nothing. They're living under rocks in that sense.
True.
I didn't know that there was ever even such a thing called the Sheriff's Program.
Right.
Until they came and brought it to me.
And again, plug Sheriff's Program. Very amazing program.
And those social workers, man, they're just great. And the officers that work with them, they're awesome people. And changed my life, gave me my life back and brought me to my daughter back, brought my life back to my daughter again. So, but yeah, when people are homeless, you've got to, if an addict wants help or they say yes to help, you've got to be able to have a place to take them. So that's where the diversion center comes in, correct? Well, in the wintertime, they get pretty full. Then what? Detox get pretty full. Then what? And people don't understand that if you really want it, you're going to get up every day. Like they tell you, you have a call time usually with the detoxes and with the treatment facilities. And you have a call time to call every day and say, hey, this is so-and-so. Calling to make sure there's not a bed available, because that's how you find out when you're going in. Right. Yes, we have a bed available. Be here by 8 p.m. tonight. That's how it usually works out. Right. You should have to put in that work to do that if you really want it bad enough. But the problem is it's not just a matter of like a day or two. I mean, these are days and days and days and days where people are going and then they just are like, screw it, I don't want to go through this. Right. And it's a math game, right? Like if you look at a numbers game and say there's 50,000 people that are on the streets homeless, say 49% or 49,000 of them suffer from a mental illness. Okay. So when you take them from how many beds are there? How many treatment facilities are there? Right. These are mathematically things that we should be figuring out. Right. But that's not what the issue is. The issue is that there's this grace period of time from which somebody can get into these facilities, is what Amanda just talked about. So for instance, if we want to get somebody into the diversion center, again, diversion center, amazing program. Okay. Saves lives. Absolutely. Okay. It's a sheriff's program, saves lives. At 5R, we definitely encourage and embrace the other programs that are out there right now and have been out there for a long time making a difference. So how does one get into the diversion center? For me, I got in through my caseworker, my social worker. So you got to get a social worker. Yep. Can anybody get a social worker? Anybody can get a social worker. Yeah. You just got to know the people to ask. And so, I mean, anybody out there that's like thinking about getting treatment, you want to ask your people that are in recovery, how do I go about getting contact? So if I'm a homeless guy, Amanda knows this stuff, so I'm going to grill her. Okay. So I'm a homeless guy. Okay. Which I've been homeless, 4 times throughout my active addiction. Lived at campsites in back of trucks, back of cars, slept outside, camped a lot. Okay, multiple times. Okay, I lived in a town called in a county called Lewis County. So Lewis County, much smaller than Snohomish County, up by Longview, Chehalis area, very smaller towns. No diversion program, no sheriff's program, no treatment facilities, not maybe 1 or 2 sporadic around, no meetings. Okay, so I'm out there, I'm homeless, I have no idea how to get clean. And I don't want to get into, I want to quit drugs. What do I do? So if you want to quit drugs, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find yourself probably going to a DSHS or wherever you're going to apply for. So DSHS, or your even your community health buildings. Okay. You're going to want to go and speak to them about it. So DSHS, I say that because usually to go to treatment, you need insurance, correct? So if you're not on the Apple Health or United or whatever, you're going to want to get that going and you go in and you. So would you say the first step is being insured? 100%. Yeah. Because you can't really, actually. And then goes hand in hand with that. The insurance goes hand in hand with the drug and alcohol assessment. That's what they're going to send you for first. Right. Yeah. And that's a hard one to get into too. There's not enough places that do drug and alcohol assessments. You are literally going, you have a call time of being there by 8 a.m. You're waiting in line. I went in the wintertime. So I went 3 days before I finally got my drug and alcohol assessment because so many people are in line getting them, first come, first serve. And there's only so many counselors. Right. So there's a gap right there. Think about how crappy it is for the first thing you got to do. And we just said it right here because we think that in order to make it a lot easier, you got to have insurance. Yep. That is crap. Yep. I don't care what anybody says. Nope. That is bull. That is the problem with, I just spit on the computer because I'm so passionate. That is a problem. Yes, it is. Okay. Like you have to have insurance. That's crazy. It's like, oh my God, I'm homeless and I'm suffering from fentanyl addiction. Yeah. What do I do? Well, you better go get insurance. Yep. Or unless you can pay out of pocket because all these treatment centers want to be paid. Right. And then some treatment facilities and detox facilities take certain kinds of insurance. Yep. So you got to make sure and have the right insurance. Absolutely. Now think about that in our system. Like, how do we fix that? How is it possible to fix that? Well, I guess having a treatment facility that doesn't just take insurance, takes all insurances, and maybe is independently funded for people to come in and be able to get rehabilitation. Well, don't they have like the state hospitals for mental health? Like the ones that people are committed to, the state hospitals. That is not that's where all the people go that don't have money and have
Mhm.
insurance, correct? So
Right.
something along those lines, like what you're saying, for
Right.
detox and for treatment as well,
Mhm.
and all inclusive,
Right.
Hi, honey. Gracie, my daughter just tuned in.
It was so funny because you're like in the middle of something. You're like,
Yeah, I just saw
hi,
her
honey.
name.
I know.
I know.
Like, yeah, I'm like,
Sorry,
wait, that's
sorry.
it. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
So, okay. So think about that. So, okay, right. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, so
we're going to dissect this
Yes,
over the
we
next
are.
20 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
So you got to have insurance,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Certain facilities only take certain insurances.
Mhm.
Okay. So what does that look like? Well, say a treatment facility doesn't require insurance. Okay. Right. Or it uses all insurance. Right. And also, if you don't have insurance, can pay for it. Where does that funding come from? Right. What if a treatment facility opens up and is independently funded and everything absolutely 100% is free?
Mhm.
There's a problem in that also.
Mhm.
The reason there's a problem in that is because when people don't pay for things, they don't generally seem to stick through them.
Yep.
And also they know that they have another chance another time.
Mhm.
What if that treatment facility was all inclusive, paid for everything, but if you didn't go through it and you didn't graduate through it, that you could never come back again, right? What if that treatment facility also says if you don't graduate from it and you don't go through it, you go directly to jail?
Mhm.
Right? What about that? To where your options now are becoming limited.
Mhm.
See, this is that balance of incentive and consequence on which I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm not compassionate for the problem.
Mhm.
I'm saying that people need to look outside of the box. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going to give you another little scenario.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you.
God, when I'm by myself on these videos, there's nobody giving me the word. So I'm like, blah, blah. And I say it and they're like, that's not the word. Anyway, so like, I'll give you another scenario. So now we have a treatment facility, right? And you can't go into the treatment facility unless you go through, say, sheriff's program,
Mhm.
drug court, right?
Mhm.
All these other programs, right? Well, who independently funds those?
Mhm.
And then at what point do they stop funding you to go
Mhm.
through those? Okay. To me, if you learn one thing in drugs, we talked about it tonight,
Mhm.
take out the middleman.
Absolutely. Take out the middle.
There
That's
is
like
a
101
lot
now.
of middlemen in
Yeah.
recovery,
Yep.
just
Yes.
like drug addiction. They all
Mhm.
have hands in it. And what does it revolve around?
Yep.
Money,
Yep.
right? It is a lot easier for you to be a drug addict and being rich
Yeah.
than it is to be a drug addict who has nothing.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
So if you're a drug addict and you
Mhm.
have absolutely nothing, you got a really big uphill battle.
Yeah.
But I
really
believe
big.
that uphill battle builds strength.
Absolutely.
I believe that
Character.
uphill battle builds character.
Mhm.
And I think that uphill battle is something that not everybody's going to make it.
Nope.
So have you ever heard of survival of the fittest?
Yep.
And I know people look at it and go, what the heck did Johnny just say?
Yeah. Right. Right.
That's the truth.
Right.
You're all not going to make it.
Yeah.
And
no.
that's not, gosh, I love you guys. I
Yeah.
hope you will
Yeah.
all make it. But let's be real. The survival of the
Right.
fittest is something that needs to take place right here, right now, in this world, in
Mhm.
this very time. Because if you look out there, there are more people playing the victim card than the people that are
Mhm.
taking responsibility for their actions.
Right. And you're the first ones I'm coming for on the purge. Just kidding.
Crazy, but awesome.
Just
I'm
joking.
like, you lock down. Amanda's fear
Yeah,
she
right.
carries. So you got to be careful. When the purge happens, Amanda's coming
Yeah.
for you. Bail out, bail,
Right.
or be friends with her,
Yeah.
like I am,
Yeah.
and then we're safe.
There we go.
Right? I know my family's protected by Amanda.
I
and
love it.
Gracie.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's like one of those
Yep.
things where it's a real
Yeah.
thing, and these ideas that we're talking about right now.
Mhm.
These suggestions or these thoughts that we're having, sometimes I feel like our elected officials aren't having those.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
feel like if we were to sit down in a room full of the Bradleys and the Nicks and
Mhm.
the Cheryls and the Gracies,
Mhm.
we were to sit down and have some of these conversations, I feel like we would accomplish a lot more than they do over there sitting in their offices,
Absolutely.
having absolutely no idea, throwing money and resources
Yep.
at something that they don't fully understand, and people not actually getting the help that they need.
Absolutely.
The people that everything that we have to do, and you guys ready? Tune in for this because this is going to be crucial. Every single person that has to do with homelessness, mental health, or addiction has some sort of trauma. Whether it be an issue that they had growing up, whether it be abuse,
Mhm.
neglect, right?
Yep.
Rape, whatever it is, okay? It comes from somewhere. Somewhere along the way, their idea of living outside in a tent and having no responsibility made more sense for them than to be a happy, healthy, productive member of society. When our society is as shitty as it is right now, and yes, I just cursed, so for all you kids, sorry,
Yeah.
but is as shitty as it is right now, how on earth can you possibly convince somebody to better their lives and be welcomed into a
Right.
society that's so shitty?
Right. They don't even know what that looks like. All
It
they know
does-
is what they see.
I
what
don't
they've been
even
treated
want to
like
be
as an addict.
right, and
Yeah.
I don't even want to be a part of
No, I
society
don't
sometimes.
either, yeah.
It's sick that our whole system
Yeah.
is just collapsing
Yeah.
around us. Do you know why there's so many homeless people and so many people struggling with addiction and mental health? Because it's easier.
Mhm.
It's easier. There's no paying bills and doing laundry and working every single day and fitting in and dealing with emotions and facing things. It's hard. It's difficult, which goes back to that survival of the fittest. It's not that we don't want to help. It's that we want to help people who want to help themselves.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, I don't help people who don't help themselves. I don't have time for it. Okay. And I get into a lot of these discussions with like parents. I actually deal more with parents who have kids in addiction than actually addicts themselves. What do I do? You know, I pay for their stuff and I take care of them. And it's like, well, stop doing that. And they're like, well, no, I mean, but then where do they go? I don't know. Well, can you help them get into treatment? I could. Are you gonna? Nope. Why? Because those resources are out there. People always say, well, 5R recovery, what is exactly that you do? We just help guide, right? Like, and not even really guide. We empower you to empower yourselves. When you call me, the first thing I do is have you remember where you came from, right? That's the first R, right? So I just want to hear your story because I need to know your story in order for me to help you. You are not a number to me and you never will be a number to me. But in order for you to not be a number to all these other people, you've got to make yourself known.
Absolutely.
And in order to make yourself known, you've got to show through your actions and who you are and be committed to be bettering yourself. I don't have time to walk with every single person who wants me to come alongside them and fix them. And there are a lot of organizations right now that are functioning right now that their sole purpose is to help the homeless, addiction, and mental health problem right now. And you know what they do? They go out to these camps and they sit down with somebody and they say, how can I help you? And they get them into treatment and they get them into housing and it fails. And you know why it fails? Because they don't know who that person is. They have no idea what that person's actually been through. And in order to actually address a problem of this severity, you've got to dig deep. My whole perspective is if I'm going to meet up with you, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, you're good.
If I'm going to meet up with you and have a conversation with you, I need to know who you are.
Right.
That ain't going to come in 5 minutes.
No.
People are like, well, God, we got to take our commitment to the homeless camps. It's like, do we really? Or should we be more worried about those one-on-ones? I think I'm more effective on the one-on-ones, okay? When you walk into a homeless camp, unless I have 30 other 5R people with me, which is definitely a goal, we're going to do a complete community outreach 5R group goes to and that's great as an army and be able to take all the knowledge from all of us and help an individual person. But sometimes they'll send a social worker, they'll send a police officer, and they'll go to a tent for somebody who's high on methamphetamine, who's been homeless for 13 years and hates the cops, and have those two people in 10 minutes try to figure out how to help this person. It doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because they don't know him. I need a relationship with this person. Every single person that I have helped in 5R recovery are my family now.
Absolutely. Yep.
They're family members.
Yeah. And there's a sincerity that goes along with that, with knowing who you're helping and stuff. When you just go into a homeless community and you're giving your spiel, they know when you're bullshitting them.
Right.
I knew it. There all the times I didn't accept the help before that was offered to me. Well, one, I was not ready at all. But two was just like, you're going to sit here. You're just trying to throw a Band-Aid on it. And I felt like this insincere, like they were just not being genuine about it, But when I finally agreed to get help, it was, I was out of options. My comfortability was being taken away. The fastest way to get an addict to want to try something different is to take away everything that makes them comfortable completely.
Wow.
And I mean, that's the truth, I mean, I had nothing, no running water, no heat, no clothes, no shower, no nothing.
That's how.
And it was like, well, shit, I what am I doing out here? I'm going to die. I'm going to freeze to death. It's wintertime. Yeah, I guess let me see what I can do. And then I finally reached my surrendering point and was fed up.
Right.
And I was ready to do that. And that's, a lot of people that have success in recovery and stay clean are because they have surrendered. They've had those moments and they've done the work.
Right.
They didn't just have something handed to you. You're not going to respect something that's just handed to you.
Right.
Nor do I want to hand that to you because I feel like there's somebody that's right behind you willing to do the hard work to get there. Why would I pass them up to hand you a silver platter? I can't do that.
Right. And if you think about like homeless issues, okay, if you think about why are homeless people, this is going to be and I'm going to get judged. I already know my phone's going to blow up after I say this. Okay. Shit. I know. Right. Okay. Why are homeless people only in cities? Why do you not drive out into the middle of the country and see, I know, but see large camps of people because the resources are in the cities.
Yeah.
That's it. So food, showers, water, shelter. These are all things that are in the cities. So that's why when people are like, God, why is my city overrun? Well, it's because they got a lot of resources. And you're like, what are you saying, Johnny? Take away the resources? Maybe. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to move them to their own place where they have their own resources and they create their own little. I don't know what the answer is, but I can tell you what answer is not working. What we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
So when is somebody going to go, okay, well, this doesn't freaking work?
Well, they're not.
Is this is so good for my project. Awesome, Gracie.
Good, Grace.
Let
Love
me
you.
educate you. No,
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
right.
I'm not doing
Here
that.
we
Anyway,
go.
so like when you go out into the woods, it's like
Yeah.
for me also, like I lived in Lewis County. I slept in the back of a truck at a
Mhm.
campsite, but I knew where to go get everything that I possibly needed, right?
Yeah.
And it was far go up. Needed to be completely down. You think the people that live all over the streets of Seattle are completely torn down? They might be
Sick
close.
and wounded animals even come out of the woods.
Right.
In the city. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that's what happens. We
Yeah.
all gravitate to where we're going to get fixed.
Think about that. Like, do you think a needle exchange next to a homeless camp is completely brought down to nothing? Take a person's food, take a person's water. Now I know, oh God, blow up my phone,
No.
right? Johnny's literally saying
Yeah.
take away all the resources for homeless people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the discussion needs to be had.
Absolutely.
Okay. So take away their food, take away their water, take away their ability to, it's super glitchy. Is it?
Is it? Oh, shoot.
I'm sorry. It's super glitchy. Maybe, yeah, we're losing people left and right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
Anyway, sorry guys. We need a more production thing.
Yes, we're getting there.
So yeah, we'll get there.
Mhm.
So again, homelessness, you take away everything, and I'm not saying strip them of their humanity.
No.
I'm saying you strip at the same time as offer.
Right.
You incentive at the same time as consequence.
Right.
If they choose not to get help, we make them.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you can't. You're not only affecting you anymore. You're
Right.
affecting the kids that are walking by. You're
Yeah,
affecting all the. Are you watching it on the phone, Gracie?
Yeah.
Because it might be your phone. Because we haven't glitched at all on our.
End.
Yeah.
But no, so the whole thing too, like you're saying with the resources and taking it from them. So I mean, you don't just, I mean, it's like, okay, so you don't want to do this thing I'm asking you to do for you, then I'm not going to do this for you. So basically, you're not going to get the food stamps. You're not going to get the pandemic unemployment. You're not going to get these things that are making your life cushion easy that you haven't worked for. Everybody has to work for their food. Everybody has to work for their roof over their head.
Mhm.
Everybody has to work for taking care of their children and putting clothes on their backs. Why should any of it be handed to any of us at all? Like, why do you get, I mean, and listen, like when I tell you I had nothing, I had nothing.
Me too.
At that point in time in my life, I felt, oh, I'm a victim of addiction, because I wasn't willing to accept for what it really was. I made the choices that got me into the position I was in.
Yeah.
I had to own it. And then I had to start digging myself out of it. Well, if I got myself there, it's going to take 10 times longer to get myself out of it, but I'm willing to do it.
Right.
And that, when they say the next right indicated thing, blessings happen. And that's the truth. When you're willing to work hard for what you have and willing to work hard for your recovery and staying clean, amazing things will start to happen.
For sure.
You don't get handed this shit for free. I mean, pretty much is and you're going to hear a lot of these harsh opinions. We do have a lot of harsh opinions because we've been there. We know what works and what doesn't. And you know what? Pussyfooting around this is not going to save lives.
It's not. And it's
going to kill
time
somebody.
now.
Yeah.
It's really time now. When people had, 20, 30, 40 years ago, think about this. I mean, cell phones, what advantage is there to having a cell phone and there isn't? Cell phone is everything. It is for my life. Are we back now? Bradley, can you see us?
Yeah.
God, I don't know why that's doing that. I have a solid connection.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a plane flew over. I don't know. I'll look into it. I hope you guys can hear us now.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a minute delay, so you guys won't be hearing this until now. Oh.
Right.
Trying to time it.
29,
anyway,
28.
hopefully we're back on. Gracie says it's getting better, but it's very bipolar with its glitchy.
Okay.
It might be my computer. I don't know. I have a pretty good computer.
We see you. Okay,
You're
we're
good.
good. All right,
Thanks,
good.
Bradley.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Brad.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so like I was saying, mapping out our resources, right, and knowing exactly where to go, using the power of our phone, the power of the internet, those kinds of things.
Why would you ever want to get help if you could do that?
If you could do it's vacation,
Right.
especially when it's sunny outside. Has anybody ever camped?
Yeah.
That is some of the best camping ever. Now you combine that with the ability and the opportunity to use drugs whenever you want, like needle exchanges, booty bumping kits, the methamphanenephedrine kits that they hand out.
Spirit, living the free life.
And now you're just a hippie.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, I didn't spit to it.
Now we both just. Now you're just, and it's not.
No.
What we're trying to understand is we're trying to logically understand how somebody can go, oh well, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
And now again, these organizations, we're not attacking you. Okay. These organizations have the best intent, right? Your intention is to, I feed the homeless.
Yeah.
That's what I do. My soup kitchen is open every day because I feed the homeless because God has asked me to serve people. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that's the issue. I'm saying that we've got to somehow offer something better than the things that they have right now.
You got to understand too, they're going to put a
And what is that?
Well, they're going to put a pacifier in your mouth and a Band-Aid on your wounds because they're the ones that got you addicted in the first place. So they're going to, they have to do a lot of this for their self-preservation, and they're making them feel better. Listen, anybody that's a product of the pharmaceuticals, okay, like anybody that went through the oxidase or the anything, pain pills and were overprescribed, that's a lot of the reason why places are handing these Band-Aids and doing this. And you see that it's at a state level that they're putting these booty bumping kits together at a state level. This is what our Congress has decided is going to be good and effective. Well, of course they want to just make it go away and underneath the rug because they did this to us.
Right. Go to those Congress members' houses and see how much homeless community live around them.
Absolutely.
That's
how much time do they volunteer when they're not being paid for it?
Right. If you run for government and you in any way, shape, or form are in a certain district, and whatever district you're in, you should be smack dab in the center of the problem.
Absolutely.
That is the only way to fix it. That is the only way to be a part of something. Why? Because you need to see what it is every single day, which is why I feel like so much elected officials, everything gets kicked out of the way. And what Amanda said, so smart. Amanda's so smart. What the pharmaceutical part of this thing, okay, right? I know people who were not addicted to heroin or opiates that got prescribed Suboxone as a method for their recovery. To me, I get it. You're right. Doesn't make sense. Heroin, I get it. You're an opiate, and you're gonna have withdrawals, and they're gonna wean you off of it. And it's you know, I get it. I'm learning all that kind of stuff. That doesn't make sense with methamphetamine. Methamphetamine, you're gonna sleep for about 4 or 5 days. You're gonna be a little bit, head spun, pissy, angry. You're gonna have to learn to eat and stuff. But again, it's only gonna take a little bit of time because it's water soluble. You're gonna get. It doesn't have such bad withdrawals. It doesn't make you rapidly sick. I mean, of course, depending on how much you shoot up, depending on that stuff, all varies. But Suboxone's not the answer.
Not at all.
For methamphetamine.
Why are you going to give me an opiate antagonist for something that's not an opiate?
I have a buddy, I'm not going to use his name, but he knows what I'm talking about, who he went to treatment and he was such a monster coming down off methamphetamine that they prescribed him Suboxone to make him more tolerable for the staff because the staff was afraid of him. Okay, so and
pretty sure I know who this is.
Anyway, so and it's like, and that's what he was like, I'm not taking this. I'm not an opiate addict. And they're just like, no, well, we're scared of you, and we believe that if we can get you on this, then it makes our jobs easier to be able to handle. Okay, again, what you need is 6 really scary dudes.
To come in and say,
and be like, lay down and shut up. Bo is tough. He's but again, you just got to counterbalance that toughness.
Or rather than saying that you're afraid of, you don't like the way we run our program, you get your
ass out, bro.
And when you're ready to commit to what we do here, you can come back.
Right. And again, it's one of those things where we've lost touch with this stuff.
And nobody wants to be, I feel like the connection, like you said at the beginning, when you remember, you want to hear somebody's story.
Remember where you came from. First R and 5R.
Yep. And a lot of the things that we've done as addicts happen because we don't feel connected. We felt there's a void there, It's important to make somebody understand their worth and that they can do the work to get themselves clean and things like that. When they tell their story, that it matters, it's the number one thing we tell people is like, everybody has a story and your story matters, completely. And when they realize that and they have a little bit of self-worth, oh, okay, I am a little bit important. They want to do for themselves. Okay, hold your head a little pride, you get a little pride back. You have your integrity back. You start to want to do the work even more, So at some point in time, they need to stop just putting Band-Aids and sweeping it under a rug, and they need to start building connections. This shit with the pandemic and putting everybody in isolation and quarantine was the worst goddamn thing that could have ever happened to any addict ever. We die when we're isolated. Okay. We go back out and we use, do you know how many lives we lost just here in Snohomish County, just during this pandemic? And for what reasoning?
For a massive hysteria, COVID that is 99.9% survivable.
And we both had it.
We both had it. It almost killed me. And I mean, it was tough. But again, people die from the flu. What they did was they massive hysterically put this thing out that was so detrimental and dangerous to addicts. I wish they would have spent more time on people in their addiction and their mental health during this COVID. Instead, they're funneling money through all of these different, programs that are not helping. People are losing their housing. And then they're like, God, I wonder why we have such an addiction issue. Because the media and the people who are corrupt in our government formulated a plot to put mass hysteria into something to steal an election. Sorry, but
it's true. It was smoke and mirrors. It was smoke and mirrors. They've been doing it forever.
And it's one of those things where if they really cared about the problem, they would sit down.
Absolutely.
You can't expect. Here's the thing. I know I kind of got politics. You know who I voted for. Anyway, but okay. So here's the thing. Okay, you can't expect somebody who has 3 meals a day, has their drug paraphernalia paid for the ability to have infinite freedom, almost like camping in the streets,
Money.
to want to step away from that to make less money than it is to pay rent at an apartment.
Just because
So,
struggle like a real person.
Have you seen how much it is to rent an apartment here in Washington State?
Insane.
It's insane. So you think somebody who's going to get off the streets is like, wait a second, let me check my options. I have option A, I'm completely taken care of, and I don't have to worry about anything. Or option B, I got to work at a job where I make less money than I'm able to pay my bills and not be able to afford an apartment and live a house. That's the problem, is you're not going to convince them. And they're like, God, I wonder why these people don't want to get clean. I don't want to get clean in that situation. Do you know how hard I work to pay the bills that I pay? Do you know how hard you work to pay the bills that you pay? To where this is insane. I don't feel like I'm gaining any ground. So in order to convince them to freaking munch, to rent here in Washington. Exactly. And then what does that go back to? It goes back to everything. The people. You know who the worst governor in the United States is?
Inslee.
And if you're watching this, kiss my butt. I'm just kidding.
There's our defiance.
Wait a second. He's going to control a grant that we're going to get.
Yeah, right.
You know, oh my gosh.
So we can just speak deliberately too.
Well,
so listen, this is where this gets really like gray area. You are our constituents, okay? So you work for us. Stop thinking that you have power over us.
Exactly.
We make the call, okay?
Exactly.
That's where when you get that right, then when people can sit down and have a conversation instantly. Until then, you need to go feed your ego in your own mirror. We don't want to see it on our
For
TV.
sure. Exactly. And think about how, do you think he cares about you?
No, he does not.
Where
You
does
are a
he
number.
live?
Yeah.
And does he live anywhere near any of the homeless problems?
Well, that's like a president having the right to say we're going to war. Well, did you ever serve?
Look at Moscow's
Inslee, I know. Have you? I mean, that's the thing too. Right. When a president, I think a requirement. You need to serve. You're in the military.
I do agree
you
with
don't
that.
get to decide if we get to go to war and back up these people if you haven't served. Same with Inslee. You're not in the trenches, so therefore you shouldn't have a say so in what the hell we do. You're not one of us. Okay, you're a normie. And you're one of the worst kinds. Oh, sorry.
I don't know how you won office. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That election was rigged too. There's no way.
God, where's the line right now? Sorry. It makes me angry because that's where it starts, you guys. Like in our communities, it trickles down. It trickles down. It trickles down.
Trickles down.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. He is the number one primary thing of put a Band-Aid on it and sweep it under a rug, and I'm going to put a good face on when I need to. And other than that, I don't give a shit if an addict dies tomorrow. I don't give a shit if an addict overdoses tonight. An addict overdoses every 30 seconds in the United States of America, you guys. I mean, this is a very real issue. And if you think it discriminates, it doesn't. It's knocking on your fucking front door. If it hasn't already. Inslee, I guarantee there's a member of your family that's an addict. Do you want to lose them?
Right.
You know,
I bet they get the best treatment.
Yeah,
I bet you put them up in the.
He's probably the worst judgmental guy ever.
But if they did, I think that they would. Oh man, he's in a tropical paradise somewhere. You know, he's like. Have you seen some of those treatment facilities like downtown?
That's sure the hell not
California.
where I went.
I know, right? Where they like fly you in onto this private island and they put you in a robe and then they give you all natural
beautiful
food.
Singles.
They say it takes $22 an hour to rent a 1-bedroom in Snohomish County. I would say that's and that's just
on the low end.
And that's just to rent, right? And that's just to not. You're gonna barely skate by with that. You got to have car insurance. You got to have a phone. I got a question for you, Inslee. What happened to our $30 car tabs?
Right.
Well, didn't we all vote on that? And wasn't that all accepted?
Our
and we
votes
were all
don't
supposed to.
matter.
Oh, that's right. And again, it's one of those things that was like superseded. But to me, when you look at the states that struggle the most, I don't want to get into this. I shouldn't.
I know. I'm right there with you.
I'm so sorry. Because I know we have different people,
but
but
is all
the
tied
worst
together.
states are blue states. All right,
it is.
Forget it. Okay,
Listen,
I know all of the worst, in my opinion, and it's because people believe that you throw resources and money at a problem without actually fully understand what the problem is.
And that's the thing. I don't care if you think it's a disease or a choice. It's an epidemic and it's killing people every 30 seconds in the United States of America. Okay.
Yeah.
If we were to do the math and bring it back home, closer to home, I mean, everybody, it's like cancer, knows somebody that's that has, been a part of active addiction, lost everything. It is such a problem that is in our face that what they're doing isn't working. So now they need to be open to other suggestions. And here's the thing too, more than that, with people don't want to work towards, why would I want to go suffer in, being a normie and being clean and stuff and not making money and barely getting by? Because it's more than that. It's the connections you build when you are in recovery.
Sure.
It is you're building something in recovery that you don't ever want to leave behind again.
Yeah.
You get your family back. Those connections you can't even put a price on that. It's priceless.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It is so much more when you're presenting this to somebody that, do you want to get clean? Look what you could have. It isn't about the dollar signs. It's not about the work in a job or, yes, that comes with it, but it's also the connections. It's filling those voids that you're using drugs to numb in the first place, know?
Yeah.
Getting your family, your friends back and becoming somebody you like. You can stare at yourself in the mirror now and not hate yourself,
Right.
These are things that are needing to be addressed. You
Right.
know?
And
So-
at what age, right? You know,
Mhm.
when you see the homeless community, what age does it fall on? We have that group of young, right? We have that group of 20 and under, the people that were abandoned by their parents, that were abused by their parents, and their parents went through the same thing, were abused by their parents, abused by that parents. When along the line did we break the cycle, right? And then you have the elderly, the veterans
Yep.
of our country,
Yep.
who, in my opinion, a veteran should never be homeless,
Ever.
should have absolutely 100%
Yep.
everything taken care of.
Yep.
If you are a veteran and you served our country, you should have everything
whether
taken
it
care
was
of in
2
your life.
years, 4 years,
Whatever
8
it
years,
was,
16,
because
yeah.
they are the backbone of our country.
Absolutely.
So when I see people who are veterans on the streets
Yeah.
and don't have a place to live, but we're shipping $30 million over to Pakistan,
Yep.
across the world, not saying that Pakistan isn't a great country or whatever. I'm saying that we need to take care of our home
Mhm.
base first.
Yeah.
So where did all the money that we dumped into our programs
Yeah.
go?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't go to the program. They went to the officials that funnel money through these nonprofits. Okay. They funnel money through for-profits, nonprofits, treatment facilities, whatnot. And it's because they're trying to get a vote
Yep.
for the next time
Yep.
that election day
It's
comes up.
also people get
Oh,
rich
I
off of it
care
too,
about the
yeah.
homeless community. I'm going to donate $1 million.
Yeah.
And then they get vote back into office. And then they're like, yeah, I'm not so concerned about that.
Yeah,
homeless
right,
problem.
right. I got what I wanted.
Right.
You know, and
This
what,
is a real
Yep.
conversation
Mhm.
that needs to really happen. And I don't care if people like
controversial, yes, but it
they're-
has to happen.
yeah, very controversial, but yeah, it does
Yeah.
need to happen. And we are passionate about it.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is I have no problem sitting there and having a conversation about it. Like I will sit down with elected officials, legislative,
Yep.
whoever it is,
Yep.
and I will have this conversation.
me too.
But you want to know how many of them would want to have a conversation with
won't.
me?
Right.
They won't. And you know
Yep.
why? Because
The
I'm bringing
truth.
the fire,
Yep.
baby. Like I've got,
truth hurts.
oh, it's gonna be insane. And I
Yep.
don't mind doing it. I have talked to a couple of elected officials
Mhm.
and it didn't go over so well. And it didn't go over so well because I felt instantly like they felt like I worked for them
Mhm.
when I'm
Yeah, I
trying to
hate
help
that.
the community that
Mhm.
they're supposed to be running.
Mhm.
So I feel like the power exchange should immediately
Uh-huh.
be changed, right? Like I'm a constituent.
Yep.
So you need to earn my vote, right? And
Every
that's
bill is covered in earmarks. Yep.
yeah, for sure. I don't know what that means.
The
Oh.
every bill is covered in earmarks, like the
Bradley, you're using terms
The
that I don't
mark-
understand.
I can't. I
Okay.
don't know how to explain it. Will you explain what an earmark is? They're like I know what I'm trying to say.
Bradley, explain what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Mr. Egghead. He's a
Yeah.
smart guy.
Yeah, he's
And
very
it-
smart,
so-
very intelligent.
and
I know
so-
what he's trying to say. I just can't. word
Right,
it.
and so these elected officials, like, I don't have a problem. Like, I
Yeah.
want to talk about it. And you know what? I honestly believe that 5-hour recovery can help.
Yeah.
And I believe that we can help because we're gonna definitely bring the balance back from incentive
Yes.
and consequence. And there's gonna have to be some consequence. You're taking all the consequence out of Seattle. You are giving the officers with no ability to be able to enforce anything.
Mhm.
And at the same time, you are giving them all of these things, and you're creating an idea where people are like, God, it is so much easier to be homeless.
Mhm.
That easier concept needs to be taken completely out of
Yeah.
the thought process, and the mindset needs to change.
Yep.
And it needs to be to the point where it's like, okay, we need to offer something better than what they already have.
Yep.
And all you keep doing is adding stuff to what they already have.
Mhm.
They're not going
No.
to take away a couple of those things
Yeah,
or
make it
figure
uncomfortable.
out like what could make them better in society, right? And it's
What
like,
do they have to do to get that?
right, how
Yeah.
I believe okay, give them the stuff to make the soup,
Mhm, mhm.
but don't make
Make
the
it for
soup
'em.
completely.
Yeah.
What about that? I know
Yeah.
people are like, God, that's so.
Yep.
Think about it. Why have these discussions not happened?
It really is that whole saying: if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for tonight. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. It
Right.
is exactly like that. What skills, tools are you using to make these people better, productive members of society that they can be proud of, that they can live with, that they like? You know,
Yeah, for sure.
that's what we have to do. I mean, we're not being a hard ass on the addicts that just like are the people that want to just live on the streets. We get it. We understand why it's easier. You know,
Right.
we understand. However, 5 hours probably not going to be the ones that's going to hand you over something, you know, what I
Right,
mean?
and-
because there are people that are willing to work for it, and those are the ones that we're interested in helping, you know.
Right. And now I have said this. 5-hour recovery was created on conservative Christian values.
Mhm.
Okay. It doesn't mean we're a conservative Christian program, but I am a conservative Christian. Okay. So my beliefs and philosophies, she is too. And so what it is those philosophies, God, country, honor, liberty,
Mhm.
freedom, strength, hope.
Yeah.
Those are things like
Yeah.
we use
Hidden
hidden
agendas.
agendas on the representatives, but into the bill.
Yep.
Yes, it is. And
Mhm.
now I know what you're saying.
Yep.
Now I know exactly what you're saying.
Yep.
You're like, well, we could pass this bill that does this. And then
Yep.
there's all this hidden stuff
Mhm.
in it, right? I
Yep.
agree.
Smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Okay.
Mhm.
So 5R was built on conservative Christian values, which, to be honest, is one of the biggest reasons I get the most kickback.
Yep.
It's the most biggest reason why, or not kickback, the most flack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's because the bridging of the gap that I do has to do from morals,
Integrity,
values,
yeah.
integrity, working hard for your life. And we are being in the midst of all these recovery programs that are infiltrated by, oh my gosh, should I say it? By liberal people who believe that everybody is victimized and everybody has feelings and feelings over facts, and they can't help it and they can't take care of themselves. And it's like, you know what? That's been going on for the last 30 years. And that's why we struggle.
Because it fits the narrative.
It fits the narrative. And I'm sorry that this conversation got political, because it wasn't, we're never, but it is.
But let's be real.
Let's be real. It has to do with politics. And we're going to be involved in politics. And I get a lot of flack because people are just like, gosh, Johnny, you know, conservatives are all blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Christians are all blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, how is your life going? And they're like, oh, well, you know, I hate everything about myself. I hate everything about everybody else. I hate the world. The world hates me. I hate God. I don't have a fair chance. I want you to call me what I want you to call me. I want you to say what I want you to say. And if you say something that offends me, it needs to stop. And in the same time, if I screw my life up, you need to fix it for me. I don't believe in any of that. I think it's crap. I think the whole thing is you're building people and creating this environment of people who have an idea that they're victims.
Yeah, and entitled.
That they're entitled. That they
need
the world. We don't. You work for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pain. And this isn't coming from somebody on the outside saying, I have worked my ass off to get where I'm at.
I've lost it all. I've had it all 3 different times and lost it all. And I'm rebuilding now for the 3rd time.
For sure. And it's a struggle every time.
And do I feel like, you know, frustrated? Yeah, I do. It would be nice just to be like, somebody be like, here you go. But I know that I won't appreciate it in the end. You want to know why? Because nothing in life worth having comes easy. And if it does, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I know this now. My dad used to say that to me all the time. And I know exactly what he means. It feels so good to work what you know, to earn what you have. It feels so good to be able to, keep a roof over your family's head or put food on the table. I love my favorite thing is when my whole family is home and I'm cooking in the kitchen and we get to sit down and eat dinner together. I got to do that. That feels good.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
That's what I strive for every day. Those are the types of things that you should strive for every day. And these discussions have to happen.
Right.
One of the number one things I want to do is lobby. I want to be a lobbyist. I want to be able to go before and be like, this isn't working, you know, and I'm going to be that one that is probably the what is it called? The controversial. I don't care because I'm speaking from a real point of being there. Like you haven't, I have. So listen to me, you know?
Right. But, I feel like the ideologies have got to change.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you look at these things that are happening in, say, San Francisco, where people just walk into Target and they steal and they walk out.
Yeah.
And you've taken away the responsibility of the police to be able to handle that. And then you're like, well, then those guys go out and they sell TVs or whatever it is on the streets to the people, and they turn around and take the money and they use that for drugs. And then those same officials that run San Francisco are like, man, why do we have a drug problem?
Right. Yep.
And you're like, are you idiotic? And then they live in this world, this warped sense of reality to where you're like, well, everybody else, I believe, sees that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense. Why is it? Because if you told me when I was a junkie, which thank God I got clean while all this craziness is happening in the world. Because if it wasn't, I would have been one of the worst.
Me too.
I would have been one of the worst. Yeah, Amanda too. We would have been the ones that took full advantage of all the stores that we can rob, all the things we can get away with, all the possession charges that we will never
Cart
see.
runs for days.
Oh man, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing is now we're clean and we're like, God, that's crazy. But the addicts are out there right now going, shoot, man, I can even rob Walmart.
Right.
So I know that I get my 3 meals a day. I get free dental work. I get a free shower, and I can rob Walmart
and get my drugs
and get what. And you're wondering what is wrong with our society.
Right. I mean, let's see that. So it's funny because the dilemmas that run into this happened last week. So that's how I used to pay for my drugs was I was a booster and I was good at it. And unless I did too much of something and then I went in, I was like all super, but for the most part, I was really good at it, in and out. So that was how I paid my bills. And I justified it with, well, it's a big corporation. They have money for this. They've got shrinkage money, loss prevention, insurance, whatever. But now I go and I'm watching people shoplift, and it's like a fine line. I'm like, I get why they're doing it, and they're feeding their habit, and I feel sorry for them. But the moral side of me now is like, I'll get them, run after them and be like, tackle them, like mall cop.
And of course, these like big. I love the ones that are like, well, I'm stealing from stores. I'm not stealing from you. And you're like, again, that the stores are ran by people, right, and organizations that are now being restricted by the laws that are enforced because of the town that they're in. Those stores don't have a choice. Think about the mom and pop stores.
Yes, I hate that.
They're dealing with just the same amount of crap.
Yeah.
And these are people who have families.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yep.
And like, I'm okay with like sitting down, but God, sitting down and having these conversations. Well, I don't really have one. Well, then should you really be in this conversation?
Right.
Maybe save this for the adults.
Yep. Stand down.
Know your lane.
Yep.
And
Do
stay
your
in
research,
it.
come back and we'll try this again.
Because this isn't easy. Do you think I
Yeah.
love getting the backlash that I
No.
get? Do you think I love that all these other programs are looking down on 5R
Yeah.
because they think that, oh, we're trying, look at Johnny Ray, he's trying to instill this new philosophy of reduction. It's like, I'm just trying to make people better, and your guys' way isn't working.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to step in as best as I can and help where I can.
And I agree 100%, you know,
There's
and
nothing wrong with that.
I'm sorry we don't fit your narrative.
Put up or shut up.
Right.
You
But we're
want to
not-
match it? Bring
Yep.
it on.
Right.
We're ready.
Right.
So.
And we're not here to fit your narrative or your story or make it look like a packaged, neat little tiny bow. We're here to save lives. We're
Right.
here to help the other addicts that want to get help.
Right.
And that's the bottom line. And if that's not something you can stand behind, then maybe you should question what line of work you're in the first place.
Exactly.
And maybe that needs to be where you're focusing your attention and not on 5R and what we're doing.
Yep, for sure. Yep. So God, we talked for 46
I
minutes.
know. I
We
love
were
the topic.
actually
It's great.
right before we started
We
talking.
know what
We
we're
were,
talking about.
we were like, what should we talk about today? And then we are just kind of like, well, once we get rolling, we'll get
Yeah,
going.
absolutely. It was a good conversation. These are things that need to be discussed. They're not easy to hear. We might have lost a few people. We might have people turn it off and they watch it later. It's okay because
It is
really-
okay.
it's
And I
okay.
do know that some of the
We're a bit
people that are
much.
in 5R definitely don't share the same
No.
views, and
Yeah.
they don't need to. I'm not saying that you
We're
have to
not-
be.
mm-mm.
Amen. Thank you, Bradley.
We're not preaching to you. We're not trying.
Oh, wait,
to
is that amen or just yep? There it is.
Yeah, there it
Okay,
is. We're not
perfect.
preaching to you. We're not trying to get you to believe
We're
what
not.
we believe, or
We're
you know,
not.
We don't. We just.
It's just
explain
let
to
us
you.
do our thing to help
Yes,
people out.
That's it. Let's do it.
I mean, people can say all they want about me as a person,
Mhm.
even though if you knew me, I think that you would change your views.
Yep.
A lot of the people that talk crap about me have no idea who I am or what
Mhm.
I actually do every single day to try to
Yes.
help people. But when it comes down to it, you don't have to believe what we have to believe. Just
Mhm.
let us continue to do what we're trying to do.
Right.
And in order to change, like I love when people, then we'll close this out. I love when people are like, I want to get somebody into treatment immediately, or I'm going to get somebody into detox immediately, and there's no place for me to take them. There was a thing posted today about it, and it just made me think. And I kept thinking, well, the reason it doesn't work that easy is because it shouldn't be that easy. Number one,
Nope.
and number two, the system is flawed,
Mhm.
and the reason the system is flawed is because the overabundance amount of people that are going through the exact same
Yep.
thing. So again, survival of the
Yep.
fittest.
Yep.
There is 100,000 other people just like
Yep.
you right now in the very same location that you're going. It's up to
Mhm.
you to get that
Yep.
bed. It's up to you to get that spot. It's up to
Absolutely.
you to get that caseworker. It's up to
Yep.
you to make a change in your life. And you know what? You're competing with 99,000. It's a race, baby.
Yep.
You better get on your high horse and get running or fade out.
And let me ask you this.
What do you want from me?
What were you willing to do in your active addiction? What are you doing right now to survive every day in active addiction and get your
Yeah.
drugs and your fix every day, correct? Because I'm
Yeah.
speaking right to you, right? You got to be willing to do that for your recovery or get better and to be clean. You got to be willing to put 10 times more effort into that, right? So
Yeah.
you start fighting for your own life.
Yeah.
And let us help you. You know what I mean? Like if you fight for your own life, I'm going to fight for you.
Yeah.
If you want me to be the only one fighting, I can't make you care about you, you
Yeah.
know? So it's the bottom line. I mean, it really is. It's yeah.
And I'm okay with being fighting against the governor. That's a piece
Me
of crap,
too.
dude. I don't
Yep.
care if you see my video.
don't
I don't
care
care if
either.
you send me a letter in the
Taunt me.
mail. I don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me. You need to be out of office. I'll do
Yes.
everything in my
Yep.
power to get you
Me
out of
too.
office.
Yep.
I'm not going to apply for any grant that you're going to have to sign
You know
off on.
what's
I don't
crazy?
care.
Everybody says and agrees with this. Inslee's an asshole, but why is he in a second term? People, some of you out there voted for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
I've
need to have
actually
Conversation.
I've actually seen other organizations take pictures with him just recently because their organization is getting represented by the state of Washington.
Yeah.
So here is the guy. You know
Yeah.
who won't be doing that?
Not us.
Me. If I get recognized by the state of freaking Washington and the governor wants to have a sit down and a meeting
Yeah.
with me, it's going to be a lot different than he entails.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be on the
Then he
like 11
sees.
o'clock news for punching him in his mouth. And I'm just gonna go ahead and guess with that. But then again, hey, we'll talk about that when that
We'll
comes to
definitely
be.
talk about something, but it
Right.
probably won't be 5-hour
No.
recovery.
No, I'll be on the news for screaming at him. Be like, yeah. You'll see the video, like the picture. It was screaming at him. You know,
Be like, I had to bail Amanda out of jail
yes,
tonight.
yes,
Uh,
that's a good friend.
That is a good friend. Well,
got
thank
you,
you everyone
Dylan.
for
Thank you,
listening.
guys.
Our plug, Diversion Center Fridays, Tuesday night, 6:30 meetings, Monday nights, we're here live,
Yes.
Saturdays, we're here live. You know what you could do? You could comment on our videos.
Yes.
I know I'm supposed to say that. My
Like
good
and
friend-
share or like and comment in the below.
Yeah,
Comments
and,
below.
and tell your friends. Yeah, we
Mhm.
we love the comments and the feedback from everybody.
Mhm.
But again, we're just doing this to have more recovery content. It isn't a race, but I always take first place.
Because
Well,
if
there
you're
you
not
go.
first, you're last.
If you're not first, you're like, and Brad, you're doing really well.
Yes,
Again,
well,
Brad is somebody who embraces it, right? So
Yeah.
again, look at all our channels, comment below, give us
Daily
a thumbs
question,
up.
Facebook group page.
Daily questions. We're,
Monday through
we're
Friday.
keeping our Facebook 5R page and our group up to date for the most part. and we're doing all sorts of
And
other
if you
stuff
guys have
too.
any topics you want us to cover on a Monday night, hey, or Saturday, please go ahead and put that in the link below. Let us know. We want to hear from you.
And I think tomorrow's meeting is going to be about why helping the newcomer is so
I
important,
like that.
or why
I like
helping
that.
somebody who's new to their recovery is so
Mhm.
important.
I
It's
like
going to
that.
kind of branch off on what our discussion is today.
Mhm.
We're going to talk about ideas and things, maybe that other suggestions that people have as to what we could possibly do to bridge the gap
Yeah,
between these certain obstacles that people face in their recovery.
I love
And I
it.
think getting a room full of, like I said, you get 40 people in a room, all addicts, all people in recovery,
Mhm.
talking about a similar subject. It gives us the opportunity to discuss something that I don't think other entities talk about very
Agreed.
often.
I
So
love that.
thank you very much for listening.
guys.
I appreciate you. Sorry, we got a little live there.
I know.
didn't
I know. We got a little heated. Feisty.
Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye, guys.
Bye.
Good discussion.